A lion turtle! Man, am I lucky I bumped into you. Really in need of some of that ancient feline lizard advice, you know? Help me out, my man.
The true mind can weather all the lies and illusions without being lost. The true heart can tough the poison of hatred without being harmed. Since beginningless time, darkness thrives in the void, but always yields to purifying light. Wait for him. He will come.
Oh, come on, I gotta face the Fire Lord and this is what you leave me with? Your advice is basically dabbly webbly, have fun with Zuko's daddy. Come on! Ugh. Hey you beautiful nerds, my book is out. That's right, on writing and world building, the one with all of the Avatar content in it. You can go get it down at the links below. Thank you to the nearly 6,000 of you people who already have, and of course the dozens of you who have already reviewed it. Please do leave a review if you have a moment, it is super important to the success of the book. Thank you to all those who have. All my writing and world building stuff, you know the drill, go get it down on the link below, and thank you to you if you do. There is a hidden meaning to the ending of Avatar: The Last Airbender, or not a hidden meaning, but a part of the story that I feel a lot of people miss on their first viewing, all to do with the lion turtle. In today's edition of What the hell did any of that mean? I mean, you might have thought otherwise, but even Aang didn't know. This is from the novelized version of Sozin's Comet. Huh, well, I was right. It can talk, but I'm not quite sure what it means. I don't even know how to reply. But even just looking into this creature's eyes, it makes me feel, well, calm and safe. To understand what the lion turtle meant by all of this, let's start with the most important line, which we hear when Aang and Ozai turn into lightsabers.
To bend another's energy, your own spirit must be unbendable, or you will be corrupted and destroyed.
Despite the mystical wording of this line, it's referring to Aang's character struggle in the final act of the series.
What are you gonna do when you face my father?
Yes, will he kill the Fire Lord? See, Aang doesn't believe in killing, but he's also the Avatar with a responsibility to the world. On the one side, he has his friends, Roku, Kyoshi, even the previous air nomad Avatar Yang Chen telling him that violence is the only way. And then on the other side, there's him, and maybe Momo. It seems that the whole world is against him, but killing Ozai would mean giving up a part of who he fundamentally is. What the lion turtle is telling Aang here is that in order to energy bend without it destroying you, you have to know thyself and stand by your principles. You can't let the world dictate who you are, which is the challenge that Aang is facing. Your spirit must be unbendable. And this idea actually has its basis in a lot of other bending techniques.
Lightning is a pure expression of firebending, without aggression. To perform the technique requires peace of mind. You will not be able to master lightning until you have dealt with the turmoil inside you.
Lightning bending requires peace of mind and self-control to use in the first place, or it will destroy you in a similar way. Likewise, Aang has to become steady and strong and stubborn like the earth itself to earthbend. Air requires letting go, and water requires being flexible and calm. All four bending types require some kind of character trait or mental capacities to help them bend, so it's no surprise that energy bending would require some kind of character trait too. You've got to know who you are and stand by your principles. And this understanding helps us understand the second most important line we hear from the lion turtle when Aang first meets him.
The true mind can weather all the lies and illusions without being lost. The true heart can tough the poison of hatred without being harmed.
There are four parts to this: the true mind, the true heart, the lies and illusions, and the poison of hatred. The first two are pretty simple. Your true mind and true heart are who you are on that fundamental level. For Aang, his true self was believing in non-violence, and if you hold on to your true self, then you can see through all the lies and illusions the world tells us, like Zuko, Sokka, Roku, and all of the others telling Aang that only great violence can stop great violence, or that the only power that matters is the power to destroy. This is reinforced by Ozai himself.
Even with all the power in the world, you are still weak.
The sentiment may be different, but the point is pretty much the same, that unless Aang can kill, then he's too weak to face Ozai. Now when the Lion Turtle says that he can tough the poison of hatred without being harmed, the poison of hatred, as far as I can tell, is talking about Ozai, a man fueled by hatred and arrogance. When you energy bend, you open yourself up to the will of another. I can feel a connection between myself and Ozai's heart and mind, linking them. We can see that Ozai's hateful heart nearly corrupts Aang, because a part of even Aang is prone to hatred and violence and vengeance. He's not perfect, we've seen that before. But in that final moment, Aang resists the lies and illusions of the world, he toughs the poison of hatred, and he stays true to himself, allowing him to energy bend. And now we get into some of the weirder, wilder, more speculative wiles of our wordy writers. What exactly is Aang bending? The Lion Turtle says, in the era before the Avatar, we bent not the elements, but the energy within ourselves. This phrasing is a little bit odd, because bending is already the manipulation of your energy or chi. Bending occurs when a person has the ability to extend the influence of one's chi past the limits of one's physical body and into a particular element. So technically they're already kind of bending their own chi in a way. What I think the Lion Turtle is saying here is that once you master knowing and staying true to yourself, you will not only be able to extend your chi outside yourself and into the world around you, but you'll be able to manipulate the nature of the chi itself. Yours and other people's. Maybe reducing the amount of chi they have, limiting their chi fields, or changing the type of chi that they have if bending requires a type of chi. It's hard to say, and there are various reasons that all of those explanations don't work within the lore, but this isn't a video on energy bending, so I won't go into that. I do want to do a video where I do explore what energy bending is on that kind of nitty-gritty level, but that's not today. So instead, let's take this loaf of bread. This loaf of bread is someone's chi. Bending is throwing a loaf of bread, while energy bending is tearing the bread apart, buttering the bread, or turning this bread into Granny Mildew's grainy goodness, packed with the vitamins and seeds that you need every day to grow up strong and healthy. Only $3.99 in store. This was totally not an excuse for me to buy 2 really good loaves of bread and just eat them. Man, I love bread. But the Lion Turtle is also clearly telling Aang that energy bending requires a little bit more than that. He shows him that you need to physically touch the forehead and the chest. Here's the full passage in the novelized version. Okay, with one hand over his heart, the other on his forehead, I can feel a connection between myself and Ozai's heart and mind, linking them. A new and wild energy is flowing through me. I'm gaining control over Ozai. Just find the source of energy. Bending someone's life force sure takes a lot out of you. But why is this important? Well, the clearest analogy would be an earth-bending stance, which requires your body to physically reflect the earth itself, being steady and grounded. And in energy bending, you are connecting to the heart and mind of another, so touching them physically on the forehead and the chest helps with that, like a stance. By doing this, Aang creates a connection between his spirit and Ozai's spirit, and this creates a contest of willpower. This is why the Lion Turtle pressed the importance of knowing himself and standing by his values, because instead of their bodies, it's now their hearts and minds fighting it out, and his heart and mind has to be a fortress. Side note, to be clear, the novelized version of Sozin's Comet is pretty low tier canon. It wasn't written by Mike and Brian, it wasn't written by Elizabeth and Aaron, so it's not 100% reliable, but it does offer us some insight that we don't get anywhere else. So take it with a grain of salt, and consider it as something that's more interesting than hard, cold canon. Cold, hard canon. And all of this woven together tells us something else really interesting. If bending the energy within ourselves allows us to take away bending or give bending, then that means that the ability to bend is a part of our life force, or our spirit. And this idea does have some support in the lore. We know that bending abilities are somewhat connected to spirituality or the spiritual self, even if we don't know exactly how it's connected, but all of this would explain why that once Aang overcomes Ozai's will, he can manipulate Ozai's chi and break the loaf, per se. He's essentially seizing control of Ozai's spirit and changing a part of it, his bending, and this would also help explain this interesting shot where Ozai looks like he's in a trance of some kind while Aang is perfectly focused. Fundamentally, the writers were making this final battle a contest of wills, with the risk that Ozai might do the same to Aang. And I want to touch on this because this is really interesting, but this is actually a narrative trope that fantasy stories use pretty often, which is tying how to resolve the plot with resolving character arcs using the magic system. Think about how defeating the Empire required Luke to trust himself and the Force like a Jedi Knight. Doing so allowed him to defeat Vader, and it resolved his character arc for A New Hope. Here, the writers were trying to do a similar thing, tying together Aang's struggle to hold true to himself with the defeat of the Fire Nation, in an externalization of the inner conflict in the final fight. And the creators described this moment as Ozai and Aang's souls flipping inside out. And that's really what we are seeing here. We're seeing the struggle between Ozai's hatred and Aang's non-violence, as well as him resisting the urge to give in to the whims of the world, and resist that part of him that is violent and vengeful and angry, with his true self eventually winning out. If all the power in the world can't end the war peacefully, then all the power in the world isn't enough. There is no strength in the ability to destroy. Staying true to yourself is a far greater strength. I will end this my way. This line actually points explicitly to the power of staying true to yourself, rejecting the idea that the only power that matters is the power to do harm. And when Aang does, he wins the contest of wills and he breaks Ozai's chi loaf. But all this stuff that we've talked about today was kind of obscured in the moment, because the story introduces a whole lot of terminology and concepts that we aren't super familiar with, like the spirit and what it means to be unbendable in this context, made more confusing by references to those things and those words being used in different contexts that don't apply here. And all of these concepts are introduced very close together with odd visual cues as well, and language that sometimes isn't particularly clear because it has to be ancient lizard feline wisdom. So let's put all of this together and I will rewrite the lion turtle scenes.
Everyone, even my own past lives, are expecting me to end someone's life, but I don't know if I can do it.
Dude, don't listen to the peeps who are telling you that killing is chilling. You gotta stay true to yourself, stand by your principles, see past all the lies that the world is telling you. Like that only violence can defeat violence? Nah man, and only then can you resist the evil inside Zuko's daddy-o. Why is this important? Because there's always been evil in the world, but it's not evil that defeats evil, but true goodness. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Gonna drop you off here. Zuko's daddy-o will be around shortly. Good luck. Oh, by the way, before the Avatar, we didn't use chi to bend the elements, we could bend the chi itself, allowing us to give and take away bending, and bending is a part of your spirit, if you didn't know. So, to take it away, you gotta take control of the heart and mind of the other person. But hey, my man, you gotta be ready for that. You gotta be ready. You can't let their will dominate yours. You gotta be 100% true to who you are. Know who you are. Don't be tempted by Ozai's evil. You hear me? Good pep talk. Peace out. I'm gonna go do lion turtle things. Like meowing on a rock.
Well, I hope that cleared some stuff up, and if you actually did already know all that, congratulations. Good work. You got more than I did on my first viewing when I was 8. But I also want to give a shout out to Jess, who made this awesome plushie of Koi Yang from the first season, when he went and wiped out hundreds and hundreds of Fire Nation Navy soldiers. I wanted a plushie that no one else in the world would have, so thank you, Jess. I feel very special. She also has ones for an Appa plushie, if you're interested in that. Links down below to her Etsy store and her Instagram. If you want one or something like this, then go check it out. Also, come follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Please do. It's a great place to be. I'm incredibly funny. As you can tell, stay nerdy, and I'll see you in the future.